but no one was there. Fear gripped him, and he looked at Obiora, who seemed calm. Emeka turned back, too frightened to continue. After that eerie night, Emeka never returned to see Obiora again. The memory of the cold hand haunted him. He couldn't take the fear it brought. Obiora sat by his absence, continued her life quietly in the village. She always cautious of being too close to anyone, knowing she had a secret to protect. Obiora wasn't just an ordinary girl. She was an elite magic force under her demon creatures with the ability to take different forms. Obiora family had warned her to stay away from humans. You must not marry a human. Our world and theirs are too different, he told her. But when Emeka began visiting her, parents grew worried. They didn't want her to fall in love with him. Though Obiora liked Emeka, she knew her family's warnings were serious. She felt trapped between her desire for a normal life and the bonds of her family. Obiora longed for freedom and the chance to make her own choices. Tired of living under her family's control, she made a bold decision. She would leave the forest and stay in Duru village. One day she went deep into the forest to say goodbye to her family. With a heavy heart, she told them, "I love you, but I want to live my whole life. I want to be free." Parents were saddened but understood. They warned her one last time. "Be careful, Obiora. The world outside can be harsh." Obiora moved to Duru village for good, to find happiness and maybe even love. She continued to sell her goods in market, keeping her past a secret. The villagers only knew her as the beautiful and kind girl from the market, unaware of the magical world she had left behind. Despite the challenges, Obiora felt a sense of freedom she had never experienced. She hoped that in this new life she could finally find a place where she belonged. The world. Obiora knew that she needed to break all ties with her family to ensure she wouldn't be drawn back into their world. To do this, she decided to visit the shrine of Obiora, a powerful spirit known for helping those who sought a different path in life. Obiora went to the shrine and knelt before the altar. "Great Obiora," he spoke softly but with determination. "I wish to sever all connections. I want to live freely in Duru village, away from Troll." Obiora listened and nodded, understanding her wish. Obiora granted Obiora to bond with her family, but warned her, "Your family will not be happy. They may try to curse you to bring you back." Obiora, the brave heart, nodded and said, "I understand. I still want to go through with it." With a gentle wave of Obiora's hand, the bond between Obiora and her family was cut. However, true to Obiora's warning, when her family realized they had lost their connection to Obiora, they were furious. In anger and sorrow, they laid a curse on her. The curse placed on Obiora was simple, yet terrifying. She would transform into a snake every night, unable to control the change. She would be her usual self. But at night, she would become a serpent, forced to slither through the darkness until dawn. Obiora remained determined to live in Daru village, on an old abandoned hut on the outskirts of the village, where he could hide at night. She made her home, living in fear that someone might discover her secret. Obiora's life became a cycle of fear and caution. By day, she lived as a normal villager, kind and helpful to everyone she met. But as dusk approached, she hurried her ready to transfer. She would lock herself inside, feeling the painful shift from human to snake. She was terrified someone might find her, but her determination to stay in Daru kept her strong. Despite curse, Obiora held on to hope that one day she would be free from it and live a normal life. Weeks passed, and Obiora continued her dual life. During the day, she became well known in the village for her kindness and beauty. Men admired her. She kept at a distance, afraid of what might happen if they got too close. At night, she endured the curse alone, transforming into a snake and slithering through the darkness until dawn. The villagers began to notice strange habits. How she disappeared every evening and never stayed out late. They whispered among themselves, but no one dared to ask her about it. One day, a wealthy merchant named Chidubem arrived in Daru village. He was known for his charm and generosity, and it wasn't long before he caught sight of Obiora. Struck by her beauty and grace, Chidubem decided he would win her heart. He approached her at the market, offering to buy all her goods, but Obiora politely refused. "Thank you, but I must earn my way," she said with a gentle smile. Chidubem was intrigued by her humility and began visiting the market daily, determined to learn more about the mysterious girl who had captured his interest. Chidubem's persistence began to wear down Obiora's defenses. She found herself enjoying his visits and the conversations they shared. He was kind, funny, and soon Obiora began to look forward to seeing him each day. But every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, she felt a pang of fear. She couldn't let Chidubem get too close. He could never know her secret. Despite her growing feelings for him, Obiora kept her distance, knowing that her curse would ruin any chance of happiness with him. As time passed, Chidubem's feelings for Obiora deepened. He was captivated by her beauty and kindness and decided to propose marriage. One day he approached her stall with a bouquet of wildflowers and said, "Obiora, you've stolen my heart. Will you do me the honor of becoming my wife?" Obiora raced, and for a moment, she imagined a life with him, free from her curse. But reality quickly set in, and she realized it could never be. With tears in her eyes, she whispered, "I can't, Chidubem. There are things about me you don't know." Chidubem was confused by Obiora's refusal and begged her to explain. What is it, Obiora? Why can't we be together?" But Obiora couldn't bring herself to tell him the truth. Instead, she ran away from the market, leaving Chidubem standing, heartbroken and confused. She hurried back to her hut, locking herself as the sun. At night, as she transformed into a snake, Obiora cried, feeling the weight of her curse more than ever. She knew she couldn't keep running forever, but she was terrified of what would happen if Chidubem discovered the truth. Days passed, and Obiora avoided Chidubem, too ashamed to face him. But Chidubem was determined to find out what was troubling her. He visited her stall every day, waiting for her. She never appeared. Villagers noticed her absence and began to gossip, wondering if something had happened to the beautiful market. Chidubem's concern grew. He decided to search for her. He asked the village, no one knew where she lived. Determined, he set out on a quest to find Obiora, convinced that something was terribly wrong. Chidubem's search led him to the outskirts, where he found the old abandoned hut. He knocked on the door, calling out Obiora's name, but there was no answer. As the sun began to set, Chidubem felt a chill in the air. He decided to wait outside, hoping she would return. Night fell, and the moon rose high in the sky, casting an eerie hut. Suddenly, he heard a rustling sound from inside. Chidubem's heart raced as he cautiously approached the door, determined to find out what was happening. Inside the hut, Obiora had already transformed into a snake. She heard Chidubem outside in frozen fear. She knew she couldn't let him see her like that. Chidubem, concerned for her safety, slowly opened the door. The sight that met him was beyond anything he could have imagined. There, in the middle of the hut, was a large, beautiful snake with eyes that seemed to reflect deep sorrow. Chidubem stepped back in shock, his mind racing. He realized that this was Obiora's secret. She was the snake, but instead of fear, he felt a deep sadness for her. She slowly approached the snake, his heart aching for Obiora. Obiora, he whispered, I know this is you. I don't understand what happened. But I won't leave you like this. The snake looked up at him, his eyes filled with tears. Chidubem knelt beside the creature, gently reaching out to touch its head. To his surprise, the snake didn't recoil, but instead leaned into his touch. In that moment, Chidubem for Obiora hadn't changed. He still cared for her deeply, no matter her. He vowed to find a way to break the curse. Chidubem spent the night in the hut, staying by Obiora's side until dawn. As the first light of day broke through the windows, the snake began to change. Chidubem watched awe as the serpent slowly transformed back into Obiora. She lay on the floor, exhausted and trembling, eyes filled with fear and shame. Chidubem quickly covered her with a blanket, speaking soothing words to calm her. You're safe now, Obiora, he said gently. We'll find a way to break this curse. Obiora looked at him with gratitude, her heart swelling with a glimmer of hope. The next day, Chidubem took Obiora to his home, insisting that she stay with him until they could find a way to break the curse. He explained everything to her in-laws, who were shocked but sympathetic. They agreed to keep her secret safe, understanding the gravity of the situation. Obiora was grateful for their kindness, but remained fearful of what might happen if the truth were to spread. Chidubem reassured her, promising to protect no matter what. He began searching for anyone who might know how to break the curse, determined to free Obiora from her suffering. Days turned into weeks as Chidubem searched for a solution. He visited healers, shamans, and wise elders in nearby villages, asking for their help. Some had heard curses, but none knew how to break them. Despite the lack of answers, Chidubem refused to give up. Meanwhile, Obiora tried to live as normally as possible, helping Chidubem's family with daily tasks. She found some comfort in the routine. Each night weighed heavily on her. She longed for the day when she could be free from the curse and live a normal life. One evening while Chidubem was away searching for more answers, Obiora sat alone in his home, feeling hopeless. She wondered if she would ever be free, or if she was doomed to live with the curse forever. Just as despair began to overwhelm her, an old woman knocked on the door. I've come to help, the woman said, her voice soft. Obiora hesitated, unsure whether to trust her. Something in the woman's eyes told her that she might be the one who could finally bring an end to the curse. With a nod, Obiora invited her inside. The old woman introduced herself as Mama Nkosi, a powerful shaman who had lived for over a century. I know of your curse, child, she said, and I believe I can help you break it. But the path will not be easy. Obiora listened intently as Mama Nkosi explained that the curse could only be broken by an act of true selflessness, one that would prove Obiora's purity of heart. You must be willing to sacrifice something precious to you, Mama Nkosi warned. Obiora felt a chill run down her spine, but she knew she had to do whatever it took. Mama Nkosi gave Obiora a special talisman, telling her that it would guide her on her journey to break the curse. Follow its light, she instructed. and it will lead you to the place where you must make your sacrifice. Obiora took the talisman, feeling its warmth in her hand. Thank you, Mama Nkosi, she said, voice trembling with emotion. The old woman nodded and left, leaving Obiora alone with her thoughts. At night, as she transformed into a snake, Obiora held the talisman close, praying that it would lead her to. Next morning, Obiora set out on her journey. Guided by the light of the talisman, she walked for hours through forests and across rivers until she reached a clearing deep in the woods. In the center of the clearing stood a towering ancient tree, its branches reaching toward the sky. The talisman's light grew brighter as Obiora approached the tree. She knew this was the place where she had to make her sacrifice. With a heavy heart, she knelt before the tree, clasped the talisman tightly, and whispered a prayer for strength. Obiora knew that to break the curse, she had to offer something of great value. She thought about everything she held, returning to Chidubem. The love they shared was the most precious thing in her life. But she realized that to truly free herself, she might have to let him go. With tears streaming down her face, Obiora made her decision. She placed the talisman at the base of the tree and whispered, I offer my love for Chidubem, so that I may be free. As the words left her lips, the ground trembled beneath her. As the ground shook, powerful energy surged through the clearing. Talisman light intensified, enveloping Obiora in a warm, golden glow. She felt the curse lifting from her body, the weight of the snake form dissipating. For the first time in years, she felt truly free. But the cost of her freedom was immediate. Obiora knew that her love for Chidubem would fade, and she would no longer remember the depth of their connection. The thought broke her heart, but she knew it was necessary. As the light faded, Obiora stood up, feeling lighter, yet deeply saddened. Obiora returned to the village, her heart heavy with the loss of her love for Chidubem. She felt an emptiness inside her. She was no longer burdened by the curse. When she arrived at Chidubem's home, she found him waiting for her. His eyes lit up when he saw her, but Obiora felt nothing. She smiled politely, trying to remember the feelings she once had, but it was as if they had vanished completely. Chidubem noticed the change in her demeanor and felt a pang of worry. Are you all right, Obiora? He asked gently, but she could only nod. Days passed, and Obiora tried to adjust to her new life. Free from the curse, she continued to live with Chidubem. The love she once felt for him had faded into a distant memory. She cared for him deeply, but it was no longer the same. Chidubem sensed the change, but didn't know how to help her. He often found himself reminiscing about the early days of their relationship, longing the connection they had. Despite his best efforts to rekindle the flame, Obiora remained distant, haunted by the sacrifice she had made to break the curse. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Chidubem gently took Obiora's hand. I know something is different, Obiora, he said softly, but I'm here for you, no matter what. Obiora looked into his eyes, trying to summon the love she once felt, but it was like grasping at smoke. I'm sorry, Chidubem, she whispered. I want to feel the same, but something inside me has changed. Chidubem's heart ached at her words, but he refused to give up on her. We'll find a way through this, he promised, but deep down fear as the months passed. Obiora found solace in the village. She spent her days caring for the sick, teaching the children, and assisting the elders. Her kindness and generosity earned her the respect and admiration of everyone in Duru. But despite her outward appearance of content, a deep loneliness gnawed at her heart. She missed the feeling of being truly loved, but she knew that her sacrifice had made that impossible. Chidubem continued to stand by her, but the distance between them only grew. Obiora began to wonder if she had made the right choice. One day, while Obiora was teaching the village children, she noticed a young standing alone, watching from a distance. The girl's eyes were filled with a familiar sadness, and Obiora felt an instant connection. He approached the "What's your name?" The girl hesitated before answering. "I'm Amina." Obiora smiled gently and invited her to join the other children. As the days went by, Obiora and Amina grew close. Amina reminded Obiora of herself when she was younger, and she felt a deep need to protect and care for the. For the first time in a long while, Obiora felt a sense of. Obiora spent more time with Amina. She began to see the world through the girl's eyes. Amina was curious, full of life, and unafraid to dream. She often spoke of her hopes for the future, and Obiora found herself drawn to the girl's optimism. One evening, as they sat by the river, Amina asked, "Obiora, do you believe in magic?" The question took Obiora by surprise, and for a moment she didn't know how to answer. But then she smiled and said, "Yes, Amina. I believe that magic is all around us, in the kindness we show others, and the love we give." As time passed, Amina became like a daughter to Obiora. The two were inseparable, and their bond brought a sense of joy and fulfillment to Obiora. Noticed the change in Obiora and felt a glimmer of hope. He saw how Amina had brought light back into Obiora's eyes and began to believe that perhaps they could still find happiness together. He suggested they adopt Amina, giving her a permanent place in their family. Obiora was touched by the idea, but part of her hesitated, fearing that the curse might still haunt her and Amina's future. Obiora pondered Chidubem's suggestion of adopting Amina. She loved the girl deeply. Fear still clung to her heart. One night, as Obiora lay awake, she whispered a prayer to the spirits, asking for guidance. In the stillness of the night, she felt a gentle presence, as though a comforting hand was placed on her shoulder. A voice spoke within her. "Your heart knows the truth. Trust in your love, and let it guide you." With that, Obiora felt a peace she hadn't known in years, and she knew what she had to do. The next morning, Obiora spoke with Chidubem about her decision. "I want to adopt Amina," she said, voice steady. "She deserves a family, and I believe that we can give her a good life." Chidubem smiled, his heart swelling with love and admiration for Obiora. "I'm with you, Obiora," he said, taking her hand. "Together, we'll make a family with Amina." The couple shared a quiet moment of understanding, their bond deepening as they prepared to welcome Amina into their lives officially. Obiora and Chidubem shared the news with Amina, who was overjoyed at the thought of having a permanent family. The village gathered to celebrate the adoption, and Obiora felt a sense of belonging and purpose she had longed for. As she watched Amina dance with the other children, a smile spread across her face. For the first time since breaking the curse, Obiora felt a deep sense of happiness. She knew that, though her love for Chidubem was different, was still strong, and their new family would thrive. As time went on, Obiora and Chidubem embraced their roles as Amina's parent. They guided her, nurtured her, and watched with pride as she grew into a bright and capable young girl. Amina brought joy into their home, and though Obiora felt the occasional pang of loss for the love she once had for Chidubem, solace in the love she now had for Amina. The village continued to respect and admire Obiora, not just for her kindness, but for the strength she had shown in overcoming her past. One day, a traveler came to the village with news of a powerful healer could restore lost memories and emotion. The villagers buzzed with excitement, and Chidubem, ever hopeful, asked the traveler if the healer could help someone who had lost their love. Trotted, saying, "This healer's powers are unmatched. If anyone can help, it is them." Chidubem felt a spark of hope reignite within him. He wanted to bring back the love Obiora once had for him, even if it meant traveling far and facing unknown challenges. Chidubem hesitated to tell Obiora about the healer. He hoped only to have them dashed, but the more he thought of, the more he realized that he couldn't embark on this journey without her. One evening, as they sat together after Amina had gone to bed, Shidubam spoke. "There's something I need to tell you," he began. And as he explained about the healer, Obiora listened quietly. When he finished, she sighed, a mix of emotions swirling within. "I don't know if I want to remember," she admitted. "But if you think it's worth trying, then I'll go with you." The next day, Obiora and Shidubem prepared for their to find the healer. Amina was left in the care of the village elders, who promised to look after her until they returned. As Shidubem set out, the village gathered to wish them well. Obiora felt a mixture of hope and fear as they left the familiar surroundings of the village and ventured into the unknown. She couldn't help but wonder if this journey would truly restore what she had lost, or if it would only bring more pain. As they traveled, Obiora and Shidubem alive. Shidubem spent the night in the hut, staying by Obiora's side until dawn. As the first light of day broke through the windows, the change. Shidubem watched in awe as the serpent slowly transformed back into Obiora. She lay on the floor, exhausted and trembling, eyes filled with fear